operating machinery, maybe on the computer, they can't respond. And some people are just curious, like, what's going on? What's going on? And in every working system, 20%, go to any organization, 20% of the people affect 100%. The rest are just spectators. So if 20%, me always gauge mathematically, if we are here 250, provided 20% are engaging, me, I'm good. But in terms of getting 100%, it will never work. But I will ask, like RSG has called or nothing, and Redemptor, please, let's squash this, because this is not there's no real enmity between you two. It's just a misunderstanding. Understand nothing. He was very passionate. Kenyan was passionate about where she was coming from in terms of free justice for Bruce. We know what the atrocity, what was done to him by the Mombasa governor. And then Redemptor also, who she has explained, she had a long day and she has been fighting for this movement in different capacities and different functions. So to be called out on a space like that and being told not be given a mic, me, when I see her, I give a mic immediately, because I know, hey, the work she does, and just to identify with us. And I also had her on another. She was on, she's very new, so she doesn't know which parts of the forest not to go. Aliingia ile msitu ya Kibe na ule IQ Watson, na walianza kumkaranga, and I was there listening secretly. Unaweza sikiza anonymous on these streets. You have to be anonymous. And also nikasikia Redemptor akisema, me, I am with the movement and I am with those radicals, because they were trying to flip her to be pro government. Yeah, you need to know who you associate with. You just can't be associating with people for because you will be working with DCI and you don't know. So welcome to Twitter Streets, Redemptor. It is cutthroat here, but we also tell you the truth. A spoon is a spoon here, not a big. A spade is a spade, not a big spoon. But guys, let's move forward. Pambazuka, Mike Nyako.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Habari zenu jamani. Okay. Thank you for this space. Today, I want to just tell you a short story. I was triggered today when I saw Casmuel after I had witnessed Morara being, attacked. What triggered me was he reminded me of the late Sir Charles Njonjo, the Attorney General of Kenya. And the reason he reminded me of him was we used to call Sir Charles Njonjo full-piece suit Njonjo. And the reason we called him that was because in retrospect, I really believe he loved the Brits more than he loved himself. And the reason why I was triggered today is because I grew up coming from school. I went to Muthaiga Primary School. It was around the time J.M. Kariuki's body had been found. And I would come home. I was fortunate enough to have grown up in East Africa's earliest indigenous art gallery. And I would sit next to Samuel Wanjau, the late, who would tell me stories about the hole that I noticed he had in his elbow and how he got it from the home guards. He was a Mau Mau freedom fighter, and he was a resident artist, and he had developed a skill in sculpting, and his sculptures were beautiful. He was gifted and recognized to the extent that he was commissioned to carve a statue that was going to be placed in front of Parliament buildings, okay? He took a long time to create the framework for the Mau Mau freedom fighter. I used to run from school to sit behind the compound and watch him. And he would tell me songs and he would sing songs in Kikuyu. Finally, the project was done, and it was time for it to be delivered to Parliament buildings. So, of course, Sir Charles Njonjo was in charge of coming and making sure that it was in good shape to be taken there. Guess what? He came and he shattered Samuel Wanjao's dreams of his work being placed in front of Parliament buildings, his life's work, a representation of what he himself had gone through as a Mau Mau freedom fighter. And the reason that Charles Njonjo gave was it's too raw for public places. It's too angry. Okay? So when I saw Casmoil today, the sellout that he is in his gear and garb, it brought back that memory. And I said, you know, as much as things change, some things stay the same. And for me, this movement means to me what nothing KE had said earlier. Each of us have our spaces, our voices. For me, my space is going to be creating healing spaces where creatives are not suppressed, okay? Because what I witnessed after that was the downhill spiral of Samuel Wanjao's life, and I'm currently writing my memoir, and I'm going to have it ready next year, and I'm going to have it published, and it's going to be a reimagining of new creative spaces in Kenya. And I believe this movement is going to alight in all of us a fire to be true to who we are. Because as we see things evolve, I don't know if it's the journey or the destination that really matters at this point. I don't think there's a destination because with every chip of the cement that Samuel Wanjao went through, right? With every song he sang, he didn't get to the destination he wanted to. Sadly, he died a poor man, but there are lessons that other artists around him learned. I learned lessons too. So I just, felt very passionate today when I saw what I saw. But I'm also very encouraged because when I saw Caroline Chep2, I saw, the older generation talking with having found their voice. I am very, very encouraged. So that's the story I wanted to share with you all today. And thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Pambazuka, for your points. Jeffy?
Afro. Afro?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Yes, we can hear you.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt. Before we bring in Jesse, I'll be co-hosting with Afro, and let me just take. I'll bring in Jesse Badai, but let me just take an account of what happened today, because we were at Bomas, and I can report to you that wherever Morara is, he's fine. He was injured. He was taken to the hospital, but he's fine. And I believe that his lawyers are handling the matter. I think he will be going to court. And it is just a matter of waiting and being patient. For now, I would not say so much. He will be speaking for himself. Now, it's unfortunate that today, the happenings that took place today at this very moment, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission that draws a salary from taxpayers hasn't issued any statement regarding that issue. The police has not issued any statement condemning those that what happened at Bomas, and all the apparatus of security, all the institutions that are mandated to safeguard our peace and harmony as a republic. Nothing from the government. But We are not surprised. It is expected. It is expected because what happened today was not anything like public participation. This, to me, the way, if I wear the political lenses, I describe it as this was an ODM delegation. This was an ODM or NNDC in partnership with the government of the day. And at this juncture, I know there are friends of ODM who might be here. I know there are friends of the state who might be here. And this message can reach to your friends. I would want to remind ODM that the era of using anarchy, violence to pass any political messages are gone. And to the politicians in Nairobi who have decided or who think that Nairobi is home, I heard one of them said, and this message is directed to TJ Kajuang, Aladwas, and this woman from Dagoriti and Naitwa. Those are the people, they are politicians in Nairobi that they have made Nairobi as their backyard. They will not entertain any any opposition or any voice that seems to be questioning their work or seems to be disagreeing with them. Let them know that there is a new constituency in town. And that constituency is the mind of Kenyans and not the mind that were used to be swayed by politicians. There's another constituency that is coming to define the politics of the country. The problem with our nation is leadership deficits. We are having politicians masquerading as leaders. We know when they know very well. And that's why unaona William Ruto right now, he's in the business of making politicians very comfortable. Very comfortable. Yesterday, if you checked, even after the High Court declared CDF unconstitutional, the national government may release pesa to the MPs through CDF when the courts have already pronounced themselves. William Ruto is busy quoting politicians, and because he's quoting politicians, William Ruto believes he does not draw the power from wananchi. He will quote the politicians, and if we are not careful, it is a matter of time before he extends his term in office. So we should be very careful. When you hear motions like those ones, they are just testing waters. And even what happened today to Morara at Bomas, it is something that was well calculated. They planned it. You cannot tell the whole nation that you are making public participation, a public participation that happens so fast. Umekusanya, you have made 47 counties to sit down, umeorganize, everything set. And you cannot do that when it comes to Adani. You cannot call public participation. When it comes to Chief, you cannot call public participation. When you come to these other things, you don't call for public participation. But this one, you are so quick. And then you choreograph, you organize it in such a manner that you want to use the republic to rubber stamp your decision. I want to salute all Kenyans from all walks of life, regardless of their tribe. William Ruto, I know very well, he's sitting down with his intelligence. And if his intelligence is not giving him the correct intelligence, then the message is out clear. Eldoret, the backyard, has said if the driver is wrong, the conductor is wrong. Angusha Dereva, angusha Makanga. So this idea of William Ruto wanting to use an impeachment motion, it's not that we are defending Gachagua. Gachagua is equally corrupt and as worse as Ruto. But we will not allow William Ruto to misuse our constitution, use our constitution, misuse the institutions in this republic to rubber stamp his own ideas. It's not always everything is about and everything revolves around Ruto. So as Kenyans, the moment tuko kwa hii space unasikia wewe na mwenzako mnajibishana, I want to remind you every day, tunaweza differ on opinion on any other things, but do not Let us not allow ourselves to be divided. It's unfortunate, and I've said this before. This revolution will finally expose the hypocrites in this movement. You saw it today when Kasmuel, and I hate mentioning his name, was when Kasmuel was first caught in the act with a politician. He came here saying, no, it is just an innocent picture, nini nini. I've been in politics at a very young age. I know politics is a game of perception. Leo hii mkikaa hivi mnione na Ruto nimepiga picha na Ruto. Don't take that photo very innocent. I'm simply hanging out with a thief. So it is a matter of time before I become a thief. Wanielewa? So Kasmuel defended himself, but history will come to judge him. Ndio huyu amepatikana ya leo. There is a guy who has even inboxed me here. Was seated right behind Kasmuel. Kasmuel was coached by the legislators in this Nairobi. Vile ataenda kuenda pale mbele aende ongee. And I want my brothers and sisters in the diaspora. There is a madam mwenye ameongea hapa. Na huyo ni madam na heshima yake na ni mtu Mungu amempa miaka mingi, amewapea historia. Such guys are there. Go and read our history. There are people who infiltrate, they will masquerade, they will behave as if they are saviors, but they are not. They are just puppets of these oppressors. And Kasmuel is one of them. And I want the people in the diaspora to mark Kasmuel. Kasmuel from today has been banned from representing any views. Anything that Kasmuel says, hiyo ni personal stuff yake na uko. Ni yeye peke yake, aende ongea. And somebody who has seen ODM work and Azimio work, I can guarantee you today, Kasmuel hata akienda hiyo ODM, they will not help him. Betrayal is paid. You cannot betray the other people and then come and join this other camp, wadhania utawabetray. So Kasmuel simply ameua career yake hivyo because of simple greed. And we have said long time ago, William Ruto has looted a lot of billions. Ataleta hapa kwa ground. If akileta hapa kwa ground, money is good, it's okay. But there is a lot at stake in the republic. There are people outside there, like people in the diaspora, who are looking to come back home. With all they have invested, will they be bringing this government? Wataleta hii serikali yenye inachukua kila kitu. Is that what you want? No, that is not what we want. There is no future here at home. Some of us tumekuwa tukifuatwa na hizi Subaru usiku na mchana. Even Redem nani ameongea hapa sahi. But we decided regardless of what. Kwa sababu hapa kuna watu walikuja kutafuta, mwenye alikuja kutafuta publicity kidogo akapata akaenda. Goliath alikuja akapata publicity kidogo akapewa na GNZ movement, I'm glad, ndio huyo alienda. So this revolution, it a test. People will be tested, and that is natural. People will be tested, but the question is, if even this space leo Afro leo juu nimesikia mpaka Senator Wauda ana propose tufungiwe space, if that comes to pass, will you stand up? Will you stand up and be counted? If this space was closed, if Twitter was closed, if Instagram and these other spaces were closed, will you still stand up and fight for your country? Will you still continue saying Ruto is the problem? Those are the questions that we need to ask ourselves to liberate this country. Our enemy is one. Umenielewa? Na enemy atabebana na watu huku na huku. The other thing that I want to say, let us stop looking things from a tribal angle. Today there are legislators in the Lake region wamedanganywa na wakaambio, and they are selling this narrative to wananchi. Let us help this government get rid of Rigiji because one of our own might be brought there. There is even a narrative that is being peddled by this politician. In case Raila misses the AU seat, he will gladly land the vice president seat. Umeona ujinga yenye inaendelea kwa hii country. So we are having an opposition that is rogue. We are having a government that is rogue. And it will take the people of Kenya. These people are ni wadogo sana, ni wachache. They only comprise 5% of the entire population. So let us not allow the entire population to suffer because of this politician. Now Ruto is determined. Ruto has allowed even governors right now to loot right, left, and center. As long as They have assured him a cut. ODM governors are stealing and looting the counties as long as they are taking something to Raila. UDA governors are looting as long as they remit something back to their party headquarters and to their party leader. That is the nation we are living in. This is a rich nation full of resources, but our leadership is wrong. And we will not get it right by fighting one another. If you don't agree with Morara what he is saying, kindly, kwa sababu Morara hangefanya even Vampire Diaries, haungejua the rot in this government. Yes, you might say no, say it is very early to crop leaders and all this, but everything is sorted politically. If you have a divergent view, Morara amecreate ofisi. Mimi hata mwenye bado sijaenda hiyo ofisi. But I'm appealing to people. If uko na shida na there is an ofisi yenye haina polisi mwenye ataenda pale ama soja akuzuie, go sit down and tell Morara is human like me and you, and you've seen even today Morara is human. He is getting it wrong on security. The moment Morara raised his platform that he is going for the big boys, the big boys feel threatened, and that's where you see they have conspired both the opposition and the government. And once those two forces conspire, it takes me and you in these spaces to protect Morara. Morara has to be advised. He has to get a security, a professional security. People in the diaspora are remitting a lot of money. And those are the questions that we need to ask. I don't disagree with you asking those questions. But let Morara invest that money in himself, in his security. Because there are people who inspire people here. Afro akona wafuasi wake. Kuna kitu Afro akisema, wafuasi wake wanasema, akisema left, wanaenda left. Right now, the republic is so desperate for a savior. Very desperate for a savior. And if we allow to fight, if we will be drawn into fights of fighting one of us mwenye ametuonesha direction, it will be very wrong. So let us, kama ni Morara tutamcorrect huku kando, tukutaneni nyuma ya hema, lakini wacha to focus na huyu adui yetu anaitwa William Samoei Ruto na grupu yake.
Ruto ndo yeye ndo the enemy. We have to literally look at that. So the next woman I'm trying to introduce right now, Manze Rasji, aligned with everything that you have said 100%. Like Manze, andika kitabu to print, kila mtu asome, we'll be on the same page, because I think you have spoken the vein of the movement. Pure blood, pure injection, pure blood. I agree with everything you've said. I want to give the microphone right now to a lady I respect a lot, who has been injecting since the Reject Finance bill. She has been overseas, Kenyans in the diaspora, organizing. Manze, ni ngumu huko Warabuni, Amerikani. What is Europe in Swahili? Tunisaidie. Urupa, Jesus. Ugenini. She has been uniting Kenyans in a lot of ways, and I respect her opinion and what she has to say about the movement, especially in mobilizing youth, mobilizing diaspora resources, in helping Kenyans who need resources overseas and also in Kenya. Without further much ado, Maj, karibu kwenye space. Mike ni yako.
Hi Afro, how are you?
Blessed, labda wewe.
Niko sawa. It's been a long time, and thanks for the opportunity. Good evening, everyone. Good morning, wherever you are. I'm going to try to be very brief. My opinion that I'm going to share is really very controversial, but just bear with me. That's who I am. I would just like to request that there are people, of course, who have put themselves at the front line. And really, nobody is perfect. Morara is not perfect. Casmuel is not perfect. And I feel like we're concentrating more on their weaknesses, but not on their strengths. The government that we are fighting is a rogue government. So what do we need? Strict and book smart people. So the moment we see something wrong on our people and we keep shouting, I keep citing Vikings. You have somebody and their shield is broken and they're at the front. And you're there going, the shield is broken. So the enemy is listening to that. And the enemy is actually also really putting them on the spotlight. But what we are doing at the moment is currently just tearing them down. They don't know it's their first time. And actually, the reason why they're out there is because the government has failed. And there is, as we speak, a vacuum. You know, if the government was doing everything right, or even 80%, we wouldn't have these people out there. So I'd like to really just highlight out there that nobody can get it the very first time, the right, in the right way. And of course, there are veterans in politics who are going to pull them aside and tell them, hey, can you do this for us? This is the right direction. So they're listening to these people, they're listening to the enemy, but they're also listening to you, to us. We are not helping them if we are fighting them all the time. I mean, we can call them, like somebody said, let's talk behind the tent. Let's do that. So we have two people that I don't want to really conflict further and say, well, these are the leaders, but these are two who have put themselves at the front line there. Now we need a third one, and probably as a fourth one. We need to have diversity because, there are things that are playing at the background. You will never know what is going on. So when you put your eggs in one basket, you're going to be coming here screaming and saying, well, but he did something else. This is not what we agreed on. We should really also learn that politics sometimes is about, making compromises. I will tell you, I've seen two strengths. I've seen a serious strength in Morara. I've also seen a serious strength in Kasmul, and we need to combine forces. This is what I want to say. And after, I don't want to take a lot of time. Yes, I just want to really, I understand that people are very, very upset. And this is because you're not getting your needs are not being addressed. But in the beginning of the movement, I and other people said the power you have is really being tribeless. As you see, they're pulling the tribe card again. When they brought in Raila, they say, whoa, Nyanza is in. Now Gachagua, don't touch the mountain. Mudavadi is in there and Mutangala. So guys, if you want to fight, and I'll repeat it once again, the tribalism has to go. It's the biggest factor, but these people factor in, and it works every other day. So let's just work towards that, and let's just have some more patience, because really, even the guys who go out there and want to do something, it's not like they're prepared. It's really just their first time. So let's also, it's a battlefield that you do not prepare for, but you're in there. And remember, you're in the battlefield. You have no business fighting somebody who's trying to really fight for you. Well, I know it's complicated, but you really just, let's try not to weigh them down, because by the end of the day, if you do that, Ruto is probably just before he goes to bed, checks the timeline and say, oh, wow, yes, that's working out very nicely. So lastly, one thing inside I want to just share, the impeachment motion is a serious distraction. It's not going to happen. Yeah, and if it happens, then the replacement must come from the central Kenya. If the government is clever, if it goes to another region, they actually lose the next election. So I think that's a distraction we need to avoid. And so just finally, I would like to really just encourage, no matter the dissatisfaction that people have with the government. We have a rogue government here. We have criminals here. We have, bandits out there. You want to send only street people to fight the bandits? We need, even the movement, we need people who are street smart. So combine all of that. And yes, as we combine, the diaspora is also really out there. And thanks, Afro. Thanks everyone else for the diaspora. And so the Dutch diaspora is organizing a demonstration around the Maandamano Day. Look, I think I pinned the tweet. Do share it. And that is how we show also our resistance from here. We did that during the the visit where Ruto came to Germany, we also, went in there and represented the fallen heroes. Yeah, so let's keep fighting. Let's not use our energy to fight the people who are out there trying to fight. They are going to buy people. They try to reach out to many people, me inclusive. So really, guys, just look at it from that point of what do you want to get, and get that. And don't tear yourself apart because of billionaires. That doesn't look good. Thank you so much, Afro and everyone. And it was a pleasure joining you guys. I give back the mic to Afro.
Thank you so much, Marge, for your submission. I agree and support everything you say. Marge, before you drop, I have a question for Marge. How can you encourage diasporans to keep on giving resources, time, efforts to the movement when some key figures? I saw a tweet that was very divisive. And one thing I've been trying to people listen to the tone or the language. Anything that tries to divide us on tribe, on ageism, tries to separate this generation and this generation. Today there was a lot of Kikuyu versus and Kalenjin versus Luo, like things we don't even subscribe to. That's how you know we're being infiltrated. Like our conversation is being. Who speaks like that in Gen Z? On the tribe, we're being trying to be. There's a classism also going on. So whatever, and also religion. Anyone who's trying to divide us, because these are ways we can divide it. Diaspora versus local Kenyans. So many ways you can be divided. We can be diced, because when we get diced and sliced, then they rule. And once you can understand, like, this is the card they are playing, then it is very easy for us to dismiss those voices. Because don't get me wrong, a community's or a nation's most articulate voices define what happens. They define the status quo, like whatever, they define whatever is in everyone's consciousness, the community consciousness. You can think that there are so many people who are supporting Ruto. Kumbe, Ruto has just paid one person in Inoro FM, another person in Capital FM, another person on Space. And you just think, we have lost. Kumbe wamelipwa. So much. In closing, how can diaspora keep up the support and keep on pushing despite discouragements which are coming in?
Yes, thanks for the very important question. I'd like to really state that diaspora has played a huge role and will keep playing a huge role in the future. So as we speak now, the diaspora actually delivered a win to Azimio during the last elections. And in as much as that win was very small, because we were not registered, there was not so many people registered because we were not voting everywhere, registering in every embassy. That's why the number was small. But still, that win had an impact. Why? When Ruto was coming to Germany, he had to come with Baba, because Baba and Martha are the winners of the diasporas currently. So Baba had to sweep clean before, Ruto speaks. And even at the I think you guys saw in YouTube. So in the US too, they were there. Of course, they're still campaigning together, but just so that you understand, at least for those who don't understand the impact. Now, a lot of diasporans are really keen on helping, but the government on the other side is also keen on ensuring that diasporans don't get their rights to voting implemented as such, because they know, the government knows, not only this one, but even the previous ones, that diaspora is going to not vote in tribal lines, but they're going to look at different criteria. Now, we are currently really just observing and helping. We will keep helping. I will not say that we are 100% clean Of course, there are a few people in the diaspora who are also, following their own, agendas that we cannot, deny. But the majority of diasporans are keen to help change, bring positive change, and the reason why you saw even last time people coming out during the finance bill to protest is because it also affected them directly. So what affects you in Kenya affects also your diasporan relative, or even the diasporans who are not your relatives, because if there's corruption, we cannot invest there. We take our money somewhere else. So we will keep helping because we want to help our motherland. We have a wave of right-wing, growing stronger in Europe. So we need to protect our home, Kenya. So the division that's coming, or the tweets that you're talking about are from the bilateral, agreement between Germany and Kenya is being mentioned. We as diasporans want to tell them also the negatives about these bilateral agreement, but also then the positives too, and then make sure that they go back to their countries and help. So we want to really keep developing our country too, because we cannot only be developing the developed countries already. So no, the diaspora will not feel intimidated or divided by any people out there. Currently, that's why I'm telling you guys, pitch yourself there. So Morara currently, and if you're listening, you're doing a good job. Has also a huge support base in the diaspora. We have Casmel also has a huge diaspora support. We're going to support you people. We're going to support those who are coming up to try to push for change. So don't feel intimidated. Just be true to yourself and just don't really put all your hopes on somebody. Don't let it be like when I pick the microphone, I have to speak exactly what you want to hear. When I say something different, a little different, it's also okay. It's democracy. Just look at any other things that I said which would work for the republic, which would work for good governance. So we're in there for good governance. We haven't given up. We'll ask you not to give up. And finally, this is really draining. I'd like to tell everyone to try to take a break, because you can abusing it. It's just the anger. So try to have a break from all these, some time out from internet, because otherwise guys can go crazy. Today was one of those days where I was thinking, oh my gosh, the internet, the timeline was just lighting it. No, guys, and you do not deserve this. It's your government putting you through this. Try to find some strategies to really manage and still be able to defend and work hard for good governance, but nevertheless take care of your mental health and put bread on your table. And there's unemployment in Kenya. There are things like what Kufa, Dereva, Kufa, Makanga, print t-shirts and sell. You make money off these goons. You have to make money off them. You see, that's the incentive you have as you fight, because it is going to take a little longer for them to change. No, you find something going on, print a t-shirt, print a printer, a key holder, something, just survive while we do all these things. And so, yeah, we are supporting. We'll keep supporting and keep the good fight. Thank you, Afro, and back to you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Guys, let's remain unified in this fight for good governance, transparency, and accountability. I want to give the microphone to Sigrid. Sigrid Ukopo. Karibu kwenye mic.
So let me drop for someone Afro, yeah, so that at least somebody else can get out. Okay.
Bet. Good. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Afro. It has been really long since I came back to X-Space to just give a view. I just wanted to say, like, I think we should treat each other with a little more grace. For some of us, I think I've stayed like a month or two without coming to X-Space, because I don't know, there's some video of some guy who was trying to explain to Kenyans what the movement meant for us. And for some of us, it was like the last hope. And so when we started seeing people talking different languages, like some people went into depression. Some people, like, for some of us, it just hit us so bad, so we took a break. I think I'm coming to X-Space after just seeing the spirit of Kenyans today. I got a little bit happy and felt like, okay, let me go back to X and see what Kenyans are up to. I want to reiterate what other people have already talked about. Like, if you feel like you can do something, just go out to the streets and take these spaces. You see, it is easy for us to criticize people like Morara, for example, or even give an opinion about these people who are coming out. But you see, most of them, they came out on their own accord. Morara actually built himself. We saw this guy coming and talking on roads and doing something, and so if you feel like, for example, you're a leader or a politician or anything, why can't you just come out? Kenyans are going to support you. I swear, like, if you come out and show us what you've got, if you can also, like, go to the streets and do what people like Morara are doing, you are creating a niche. You are creating a niche for your own self, and it doesn't matter whether you want to cash from it. Just go out. It will also help us, so that these people don't feel like, okay, now we are over concentrating on this man. We want to have multiple voices, and not just on X spaces. We want to see people who, okay, somebody already talked about different professions. So I know, like, people who are on agriculture, some on AI, some on tech. Just create a niche for yourself and say that, you know what, when people are talking about governance, myself, this is my contribution. And when you push a little harder, this is a niche also you're creating for yourself. I want to also talk about the Bomas thing. You see, like, when I say creating a niche, today, for example, we had Morara in the way these ODM goons were bullying. ODM goons were trying to create violence on this man who is harmless. But all of a sudden, there's this woman who just came and shut the hole and took the space and talked, And when we have people like that, Caroline Chepto, or what was her name, Chepto, and more like hundreds of people like that, people who are unexpected, people who go to surprise these politicians, they'll be shocked. They'll be like, okay, we thought it was Morara who was a problem. Kumbe, this thing is bigger than we thought, So that is the issue. Like, if you feel like you have that confidence to be in public, go out. Go out. If you don't have a job, for example, and this courage is your thing, like this politics is your thing, go out and create a niche. Kenyans are going to support you, because as people have talked about it, Kenyans want heroes. Kenyans are desperate for people who can create change, people who have active voices. So don't just sit there and say that, it is easier to criticize Morara and people like that. What are you doing? Go out there. We are going to support you. We are going to do what we can. We've been, personally, I've been contributing even to people like Morara and people who are coming out. And people here in the diaspora, they're doing that. They're contributing to Kenyans, But how will we contribute to you if you're just sitting and criticizing others? Go out, pick a niche. What do you have? What is your strength? Do you have the courage? Go out and help us bring Ruto and Gachagua down. I want to talk to the ODM goons. I know there are people here who are associated or who are friends of these people. It was a party that I had. I was a member of that party until this very last time that they took our space. I want to tell you people, and sorry, because sometimes I start conversations that are very difficult. I want to talk to my people from Luo Nyanza. Please don't allow this government to put this nonsense of, I don't know, impeaching Gachagua to be a face of this. This is the same way they made us to be a face of BBI. This thing is not going to benefit our people. What? So if Ruto was, if we didn't vote even for this government, what is it that now Ruto is coming to tell us that now this one is good and this one is bad? We don't know them. We didn't vote for them. If they are going to fight themselves, let them fight themselves and die there. We didn't vote for this bogus government. It is not part of us. If they are going to kill each other, that's their own problem. It's not our problem. Now you are coming to tell us now that now TJ Kajwang, I was so mad because TJ Kajwang, you are coming from a community that has been the biggest victims of political chaos. And somebody's child, a harmless boy, is being beaten, and you're saying piga, piga, piga. What the? I was so mad. You guys, it is not our war. Like people from Luo Nyanza, please talk to the people in your villages. This is not your war. Let Ruto and Gachagua kill themselves if they want to. We didn't vote for them. We don't.
Timely. If you see anyone, or if you're part of painting any community, any ethnic persuasion in Kenya with the same broad paintbrush, please desist. As you can see, Sigrid does not identify with what happened today in Bomas. Please recognize that these are political games that are meant to show that a such and such region are acting in such a way. They are meant to trigger you and to make you feel like, oh, Luos are violent. Luos are the ones who are attacking Morara. Or such and such, or Kikuyus under siege. The tribal politics are ending with us. Any Goliath, any giant we do not slay, we will bequeath, we will pass it on to our children and to our grandchildren. And I believe, I don't know if you're with me, but like we started this movement in June, this tribalism demon lazima ishi na sisi. We have gone to the same schools, we work at the same place, we shop at the same place. Only time of elections is when we are divided on ethnic lines. Let us see them for the games they are playing. Man, sisi ni wajanja. You cannot read the label of the box inside the box. And one thing I want to submit to you forthrightly, millennials and Gen Zs are now looking outside the box. And we are reading the label for what it is. It is tribalism. Divide and rule. Amkeni, ndugu zanguni. Microphone to Mr. Data Activist. Data, karibu.
Thank you, Afro, and everyone who has spoken on space. I came from a similar space, and there were divergent views. Guys have different ideas, but they all lead to one common problem: removing these guys from office. And it's the approach that we're using that really matters. And it's not necessarily one approach. This is a multi-pronged strategy that we have to take. But before, I want to talk about the voices of the voiceless. Because in the previous space, as the ideas were flowing, there was conflict. You find people will take certain things differently based on what is being said. So this is what I want to say. Everyone who is here represents the voice of the voiceless. And they are not necessarily voiceless, but there is something they are saying, and we are the ones who are the messengers. We need to listen to them. And let me explain. During the 2024 finance bill, there are those quotas who are saying that the Gen Z did not understand the bill and that they didn't know what they were fighting. And the Gen Z spoke and said, tumesoma, tumeelewa, tumekataa. That's the voice. During elections, there were certain things that were happening all over the country. And we had slogans like Vindu vichenjanga. Things were changing. During the same elections, another slogan came out. Vitu kwa ground ni tofauti. That's the people saying. Then something else. What has happened now, and what I was really emphasizing in the other space, is that the voice now, what people are saying right now, ni Kufa Makanga, Kufa Dereva. And someone took issue with that. But it's not me who is saying. It is the electorate that is saying. So we are the ones representing the voiceless, but they are speaking. We need to be in sync, in tune, same frequency, in step with them. It is not about us. It is about them. We are not alone. We represent them. And the minute we start thinking about ourselves, we lose the plot. Because that's what these so-called leaders are doing. They are not leaders. Leadership is not about the leader. It is about the led. And once we start listening to those we are leading, we will take this country forward. We will not change it, no. We will transform it into what it needs to be. And it won't be easy. No, it will not. You've seen what is happening with Morara. And in my view, they are doing this because Morara has already clearly articulated the vision he has for this country. He has already said what he wants to see or what he will do when he gets to a certain position. He is a visionary, and they see him as a threat. That's my view. They see him as a threat, and they will do anything in their power. And these guys are not good guys. They are evil guys. Yeah? So please, let's not be divided, and let it be known that what we are doing is not about us. Every single person here represents someone or people. You are the voice of those people that you represent. And as Speaker has said here, and I like what she has said, what are you doing, Wewe Binafsi, you as an individual, about it? And it's a challenge I also put on the other space. Because at the end of the day, it is the action that you take that matters. You're seeing something going wrong, take action. Do something. You have a skill, a talent, do something. Because as a man of faith myself, when I pray for rain, I carry an umbrella. As we are saying, we want to have these guys removed. What are we doing about it? It's not about just prayer. Faith without action is dead. Those are my thoughts. Food for thought, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Afro, for giving me the mic.
Thank you so much, data activist, data. I agree with you. We need to support the activists who are fronting their names. And guys, you need to understand that Kenyans are very intelligent, especially this generation. Musifikirie that the gimmicks, usifikirie ni wewe peke yako unaona game. Wasi wengine wanajua hii game inaendeleaje. Don't think that if Morara is a plant, example, I don't believe, but I support Morara. Wait, msinikujie. I support him. Let's say, example, Morara is a plant, amewekwa hapo na Ruto, atu confuse 2027 ikikuja, aseme wase, tuingie UDA. Boss, you see what has happened to Kasmuel today? The same thing will happen to Morara. Like, the ground will detach automatically. So we have to position in ourselves that if something genuine is arising from the ground, let's say one of us, like that activist, Kenya Daima, is genuinely rising, we have to support them to the point wakituruka, then their fate is sealed. But if they are the true, the embody what we aspire, what we hope for, and the Kenya we want, then let us not lose these shining stars amongst us who can do a better job than the leaders we have today. That's the only reservation I have for everyone here, everyone who has that bunker mentality, like anyone who is doing anything, huyo ni ametumwa na gava, huyu ni mtu wa Ruto, hapana, huyu ni mtu wa gava. Like, no manze, if their behavior is consistent with what the movement is preaching about good governance, transparency, accountability, and they're exposing what the government is doing. We are all doing, we're all doing hosting spaces, going on the ground, kupigwa risasi, unajilipia hospital fee. Like, we're all volunteering. It takes time. Kwanza hizi barua za Adani ni kama 50. When are you going to read those things and be productive at work? Everyone is volunteering to understand the deals that are going under the government. So let's pay each other some slack, support each other, and be there for each other. Mkenya Daima, karibu kwenye space, mic ni yako.
Okay, thank you, Afro. Before I speak on what I wanted to speak on, I will light on a few things. So there are some Kenyans who are stuck in Lebanon, and through some friends, we've been able to organize for a way that they can be evacuated. Yes, there is a little bit of stand down right now that the jets are not getting there, but there is a way through Cyprus. So what I'm requesting is, if you know a Kenyan who is in Lebanon, or you know a family member mwenye ako in Lebanon, you can just you can hit my DM, and we are going to reach out. So I think you understand the crisis that is ongoing on Lebanon. So whichever way they've been able to reach out to you, I know we having things that are ongoing in the country right now. But again, we are one people. So if a Kenyan is suffering somewhere, whether in Lebanon or anywhere, we are that's our pain. We also share in that grief. So if you know a Kenyan who is stuck there, kindly just send me their name and their WhatsApp, and yeah, that's all I'll be requesting from you. Yeah, we've been getting several Kenyans, and we also trying to reach out to them, know where they are, and we are trying now to organize how they be moved from there. Earlier plans were a little bit disappointed when they did a shutdown of the airspace, but there is a way through the boats to Cyprus. Then we fly them from Cyprus. So yeah, that was one of the things that I wanted to mention before I speak about. I put my voice in this. So I will insist on a few things. One thing is, what do we have a consensus on? What do we have a consensus on? Do we have a consensus on we need to share? Those are things that are killing us at the moment as Kenyans. Do we have a consensus that Adani, it is killing us at the moment? So when we have such a consensus, then when we are moving forward, even when we are voicing our voice, even when we are sending our message, it should reflect on the issues that we have a consensus on, the issues that are urgent to us. Top issue that is urgent to us, we know it's Ruto must go, but again, we need to stop the bleeding. And we need to stop the bleeding through which ways does Ruto enrich himself so that he can have muscles to be able to battle us in 2027. You know, so one thing you realize that it's through the deals that he's trying to cut. Remember, he can't steal any more taxes because all those loopholes mnaendelea kuzisell. Right now, he's trying to sell all the state resources to make sure that he has enough. So all I can request you guys is let's have a consensus. Let's know where we are going. The issue of Rigathi, the issue of Nani, I don't think that's something. If Ruto woke up and shot Rigathi, I can tell you for free, here in Sekuru, Mkenya Daima would never lose sleep. I would never. If Rigathi decided to go to Ruto's place and, behead him, that is not something that would concern me. But I think it concerns us the moment I'm getting a call, hey, niaje Mkenya, akitu top up 9,000, mazee hapa story ya dialysis imefail. And you're not going to get that call alone. You're going to get like 10 calls where you're going to get 90,000 in the morning or even 70,000 for all this. You get, then you look at the Adani and you look at the effect that it has. We have some of the people who are buddies. They've been fed with their families working at KAA. You get, you waking up and the guy telling you like, my mom's lost the job. And what's happening? A lot is happening at the airports and a lot. So we need to put our issues in order. We need to understand our priorities. And then when we are putting our messaging, we can understand this is what really affects us. If we can't allow the political class to dictate the conversation that we have every day, or the action that we take every day, because that's how they are able to win. That's how they are able to make sure that we do not concentrate on Kinadani, they continue stealing from us. We do not concentrate on the schemes that they introduce. And it's not like they are stupid. They understand these are schemes because they introduced that, and before it's been fought in the court and everything, they've collected the 60 billion, that the one they did the housing levy. It's unconstitutional and it's illegal, but they still do that. But because we are caught in too many dramas, then we end up losing. So I appreciate the consensusness that has been there from before, whereby we would sit on a space, and when we sit on a space, we are just focusing on the issues. I know there is someone who put out something like, yes, we need the aspect of mobilization and we need the aspect of organization. The organizational structures are good for the long term, and mobilization structure is good for the short term. But right now, most of the things that we are doing, we are trying to stop the bleeding. So mobilization aspects and the street actions are still the answers to especially what is happening. While uh, the good thing is these things can coexist. If you guys want to do the organizational structures and continue establishing the structures, guys, go ahead and do that. Don't be discouraged. You get, I don't understand this kind of discouragement. Go ahead. You want to form a party, guys, form parties. I only know of like 3 parties now from like the Gen Z's. I know the one for Buka, I know the one for Kina Lavania, and they are doing an amazing job. And I know the one for Kina Morara now, the latest one, the Inject Party. You get, so guys, go ahead, do all that. But again, we need to have consensus on the things, because if what is affecting us right now is Shah, Shif, and Adani, then while we, because if one cluster is doing something, if Afro is lost in a space, we are going to come to that space as, to put our energies there so that we can amplify the message. If Mkenya Daima is doing civic education, we are also going to support that. Working in clusters brings the amorphous nature into the movement, so that if you attack Mkenya Daima, you've only attacked Mkenya Daima. The movement is strong. If you manage to infiltrate Casmuel, it's just Casmuel you've infiltrated. You get. So those are some of the aspects I'm expecting us to be. But when it comes to consensusness, if today Morara starts a party, the Inject Party, we are going to support the party. If Kinabuka starts a party, we are going to support it. It's not like we have an affiliation. I don't have an affiliation to Morara. I don't. But what he's doing, I know, is bringing an organizational structure. What Kina Lavania are doing, by having that party they have over there, is also bringing an organizational structure. We can work in those clusters, because when we work in clusters, if you will manage to infiltrate Afro, we'll be able to read it straight away. Infiltrate Afro, we can always get another space host and we can be doing the spaces there. It is just one cluster that is infiltrated. So that is something that I want to insist. So let's get our priorities right, so that when we agree, what are our priorities? Our priorities are the chief and the Shah. So our messaging should somehow be on that. But if what is pressing us is this, and then we wake up in the morning, tunaongea sasa twende impeachment ya Gashagwa, twende sijui this, twende Sekuru kuna party and all, that will be a distraction. That in my view would be more of like a distraction to what the consensus has agreed on. So there is no formula to this, and we are all young people. We are also learning. We are also new to some of the aspects of the governance. So sometimes tusijue na pressure. There are so many things that we are going to get wrong, especially even we got so many things with the spaces when the spaces started. And we are in a learning process. So sometimes tukikosea, it's okay. I like the action that we are taking. If someone messes up, there is no God in this movement. Mkenya Daima akijisikia sukari sana and he thinks like he's the sugar in this movement, tunamtema tu immediately na tunasahau, and we focus on what we are agreeing on. So without belaboring the points, I'm just going to remind you, if you have your family member or you know someone who is stuck in Lebanon, kindly reach out to my DM with their details. We've been organizing their evacuations for the last 1 week, 2 to 3 weeks there. A lot has been happening. But yeah, so kindly reach out to my DM and we'll be able to help. Thank you, Afro, for the mic.
Thank you Mkenya. Na Jomse ako stuck Israel, unasaidia umse pia? Kimuzi yako Israel, hebu mtoe huko. Ati Lebanon. Hawajui vile Israel inakushambuliwa bazi. Anyway, thank you Mkenya. Powerful points, guys. I agree with everything that Mkenya has said. We have to be very dynamic. Let's not be, like I call it, tunnel visioned, like to only one sector of the fight of Chief, of Adani, of the energy sector, of the universities. We have to be cross-dimensional and attack this government on multi-fronts.
Afro,
If they want to bring Gachagua, yes?
ati nani ako Israel?
Kuna boy mwingine anaitwa Kimuzi. It needs to be.
Unajua Ruto alienda
It needs
Israel
to be.
kuomba kwa kona ingine hapo na Kimuzi lately.
Yeah, he's a Kenyan. We need to be worried about his whereabouts and what he's doing in Israel. And he needs to be evacuated safely. So Mkenya, hebu saidia ulete Kimuzi, bring him safely back to Kenya. Not only Lebanese Kenyans, but also Israeli Kenyans. We are counting on you to kupatia hiyo jukumu. And then one thing we need to, guys, this is a marathon. This is a marathon. And that's why when you don't see me here, KOT is here, Ras G is here, Binti Africa is here. And when Binti Africa is not here, Kenya Daima is here, All Things Considered is here, All Things, yeah, Redemptor is here. Like we are, do you know we are tunajitolea. Sijui unafikiria Mkenya Daima analipwa kupeleka hizi documents IBC to make sure that we have equitable and fair candidates who are considered, and we have a Gen Z in that. Like, this is free. Mtu anajitolea. So let us extend each other grace, especially if I respect those who have taken time off for their mental health and they come back rejuvenated and they come back ready to inject, because it is taxing. I'm telling you, since June, sijui ETL imebanduka kwa nini. Every day naamka kuna issue. Leo nimeamka Morara amechapwa. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, everything is triggering. Everything you need to, like, wants to make you go to the street and turn this country upside down. But when you take time, absorb, don't react emotionally, react objectively, and understand, like, hey, this government, at least we are all woke. And we all know that Ruto, Raila, Rigathi, Dereva, Makanga, na ile ya Ichunga ilikuwa inaitwaje? Kufa, Ichunga ilikuwa nini?
Kufa Dereva, Kufa Makanga.
Yo. You Kenyans are not good people.
Malaya.
Kufa
Malaya.
Ai.
Kufa kila kitu.
Nilijua mwendi biguni. Anyway. I'm provoked. Hebu tupatie maoni ya today. I'm provoked, unasikia?
Okay. Good evening, colleagues. I want to appreciate that. Yes.
Karibia mic. You're distant.
Hello. I'm speaking from Vihiga. Yes, I know I may not be so much audible given the network, but let me appreciate you all for once. That I'm happy for the long time Kenya has been, especially in my lifetime. I'm a millennium, yes, and I work with government, a health worker. But I've found it better and very encouraging this time round to see young generation taking up the space to be responsible and to forge together, more conscious than has been the case. This in itself is very encouraging. I would be outpaying to see you guys retrogressing backward. Don't. For once, before the time came for multi-party in Kenya, it was so difficult even to have such sessions, not even by a phone or by this kind of space. I'm talking in the village. You couldn't trust anyone. What we used to know as the special branch was a very dangerous branch of a tree. And that tree was impunity. So please, this freedom we have of speech, the freedom we have of an assembly, the freedom to associate, kindly defend it. And I'm passionately calling upon all young Kenyans, millennials of my generation, the Gen Zs of this time, please, please, this is my pleading. I know the Raila of the past, and I appreciate that Raila of the past. But the current Raila is a disappointment. Why is agreeing with the ordinary injustices that are very overt is very disturbing to my life. I'm one individual, yes. I may not be that publicly outspoken, but I'm very radical in my convictions. I believe in what I can tell to the mighty without fear. Not that I disrespect one, but I would want one to listen to each and everyone. I learned in Kalenjin community. I learned in Kikuyu community. I trained in Machakos in the Kamba community. I began working in the interior of the Somaliland people. I just remember how nice it was to live with the Somali. To date, I'm at pain to realize Kenyans are more of ethnicities than should be the case. I don't want this. Probably let me say this. I want to see the Gen Zs the way you have done, having your channels on WhatsApp and various platforms of communication. Can this continue? If you go to the archives of Kenya, there was this newspaper done by somebody called Nyamora or from Kisiland. He ran away to USA. He's still a friend of mine on the Twitter. This man was the author of the radical newspaper called, or a newsweek called, The Law Monthly. Just go pick one and read the content. Just go pick one and read the content. There was the Ngeno, the weekly review author. Go pick one of those newspapers or weekly reviews. Go read the content and you'll see the inspiration of the 7 bearded sister. Among them was this Orengo one, who is now part and parcel of the problem probably in Nyanza. I come from Nyanza. The issue of tribalism must be condemned. I must say the two individuals, they are Kenyans. This is Rigiji and the president. They are a big letdown to us all. This is not the Kenya we wanted at the time of 1990 when Charles Rubia and his team declared that moment that Kenya must be a multi-party nation. I was in Nakuru traveling. I celebrated as a young man, barely 19 years old. So when I see Gen Zs rising with several more millenniums, this is very inspirational, very painful that we have lost many of you. But I must say it is not in vain. I want to see you guys articulating your issues, just like you're doing this evening, without animosity. Let us be tribeless. This one I must insist. I'm working in Loyaland for the last 25 years. They have embraced me. I've embraced every person. And so when I see even a health worker mistreating an ordinary Kenyan, I find it painful because it is this ordinary Kenyan who has brought me where I am. Whether he's selling a banana, whether he's a shoe cobbler, it matters less. They're paying taxes. And therefore they must be respected. They must be supported. That has been my volition. I'm urging the Gen Zs, and I'm repeating the Gen Zs, don't let go this opportunity. Don't let go this opportunity. If you let it go, we the millenniums will die a very unfortunate death. I'm saying this very seriously. You saw what happened in Shakahola. Today, the rich men have gone silent. Let me now tell you another category issue in this nation. The poor people are mobilizing themselves to enable this country move forward than even the rich persons. Let me give you an example. This is the SACCOs, the Kenya Credit and whatever cooperative schemes. These are the poor or of the low-earning population mobilizing resources only to be misused by the rich people. I'm a member of Afia SACCO. There is this metropolitan. It has gone down the water who has taken up that role. These are people who are mobilizing monies to help each other. Rich men go scoop them, and disappear with it. Gen Zs, you must stand up for justice, whether in the economy or at work or politically or socially. Fight for this justice to be one that's enduring. Don't stop. If you stop, be aware I'm 54 years old right now, but I've stood the time up to this hour to speak. I want you guys to stand up even against the church that is too ordinary not to understand the context of an African, especially a Kenyan. They cannot be let to be praying over our dead bodies. I don't want that. I'm very personal on this one. I would rather believe in our cultural identities that is spiritually better and encouraging. And like these foreign legions of faiths that are defeating the purpose of a black man, we want democracy nurtured and grown from homeland. With our fellow diasporans, I thank them for mobilizing the funds. I'm going to request you that you go a step further. These radio stations, yes, there are several. You are only invited in 1 or 2 or 3 once per week. I know I'm at work severally, but I want you people to also start putting up a radio station owned, operated, and sustained by the Gen Zs. It is your right to put a station where you can articulate your issues without favor or fear or contradiction. Kenya must move. It is your time. The Gen Zs, you have shown you are capable. You are capable. Don't doubt yourself. The guns that are for injustices must be silenced by democratic voices. It matters less whether I'm in government or not. I want the truth spoken. I do a program that is essentially affecting millions all over the nation, though I'm in Vihiga. Water, sanitation, and hygiene is a public good. And this is where the MCAs are drawing monies and they don't invest back in the communities. People are drinking dirty water. People are not getting enough of their taxes back. Yet we are in the context of devolution. Is the advent of devolution a curse or a blessing? The Gen Zs, this is your chapter to articulate devolution to a better status. I can't say more than enough, but I feel persuaded to say that you have a long stretch to fight for justice in whatever context. Thank you for the opportunity, and I pray for your lives. Be blessed, all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Afro, allow me to respond to my good friend from Vihiga. And the moment you mentioned Vihiga, Vihiga is so dear to me. It's not that I come from Vihiga. I come from the mountain. But I'm a beneficiary. I'm a beneficiary who schooled in Vihiga. And when the gentleman spoke, it reminded me of my time schooling there, the great school of Chavakali High School. So, so people can come from mountain, they can go to Vihiga, and I'm glad. Very wonderful people. Luyas, very wonderful people. Also, the Kalenjins, very wonderful people. I was in Eldoret. Kalenjins are very good, and you can see we don't have a problem with our tribes. Right now, Moi University is almost a shell of its former self, courtesy of a leader that prides himself as a leader of that region. And you can see under his watchful eye, Moi University is going down and down and down, all because of tribalism. It reminds me also sometimes back when a certain man from the lake was given the task of being the vice chancellor at Moi University. And I remember some leaders from that region under the tribe tag, under the tag tribe. We want our own. We want one of our sons to come and manage this institution. the likes of Sudi. Just imagine somebody who has never seen a class door dictating to scholars, to people who are learned in that county. That is what impunity does. You know, impunity, once impunity rewards some of these individuals, because even the current head of state, I can guarantee you, listens to Sudi so much than any other person. Why should Sudi go to social media and even update to the country? It's just 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Sudi was one of the people who updated the whole country. There is an impeachment motion coming, and it has happened. So you can see a whole head of state being advised by somebody who mimi hata sielewi. Sudi is one of the individuals who has milked Sudi and Rift Valley politicians. They are the people who have been getting tenders at Moi University, delivering hot air, tenda ya mayai, tenda ya maziwa, ni hao, hizo vitu zote. Kalenjins will tell you. But see where those people are. Kalenjins who thought, or who some of them believe that electing our son or bringing our son to the table, like they say it is our time to eat, will make or will improve their lives. They are now, tribalism will never help anybody. The mountain, to my dear brothers and sisters, Wakikuyu, our own will never. You never saw anything. It never benefited you when Uhuru Kenyatta was the president. It never did anything. Tribe does not. We have a very wonderful constitution. When the constitution came, it gave us the devolved government. Huku juu ilikuwa inafaa hakuna haja ya competition huku juu. It never mattered who is the president. But because the political class does not want to change, the political class wants us to believe that if a son of my community, if one of us becomes the president, then the goodies will narrow to my tribe. That is a misconception. That is the biggest lie. We have to make our constitution work. And our constitution has to work for Mwananchi. We cannot allow this constitution to continue working for these leaders.
Allow me to interrupt you. Yes, just on the same track where you are. Just on the same track where you are now on the constitution matter. I forgot to mention this, that the two individuals, technically, and in the circumstance that we are in this country right now, they have deliberately outgrown the constitution. And this is dangerous. I think it is you, Afrocentric, or somebody else who said here, we must live by the rhythm and the spirit of this constitution. Not long a while ago, someone said, mambo ni matatu. We should be very careful. We should have been very careful when that was pronounced. You cannot say that the subjects of our governance are to your whims, and if not, they will be faced by extrajudicial injustices, or probably be sent forth to God knows which heaven. These are dangerous remarks. It tells you how one was becoming overgrown above the constitution. For a while, the condemnation that came about moderated the problem, but it was never a solution. So even the very second one is a mentor. Is a mentee of the very head of that pronouncement. So these two gentlemen have outgrown the constitution. And this order that we have now, that is now seen as more or less peaceful, we are on a cliff. If we are not careful, we may never leave the time that is now fairly peaceful. This is where the political class are taking us there. Then they want to blame Gen Zs. What happened today is a reflection. It's a reflection of those pronouncements. We cannot tell us that even the impeachment has a paragraph of an individual banging the table. That's very much, frivolous. It's useless even to bring it as a reason. I know morally, yes, but again, as a head of state, as leaders, you should take into account emotions and whatever else because of the scale of your leadership. So I'm once more repeating to you, Gen Zs, ensure that the millenniums are educated in the urban, they are educated in the rurals where majority are, and probably not well up to task, not because of violence, but proper civic education. This constitution that is Kibaki's legacy, if I may say so, I'm a Luo from Nyanza, must be defended. The Mzee agreed to promulgate this constitution, knowing very well its consequences, that probably the then status quo would not allow. But he took it upon himself to declare a new constitution, whereby you can even tell your boss at work, this is wrong. So don't take it light, this constitution. I would rather you take it further, amend it. As Gen Zs, start looking at the clauses. I'm happy of what my brother who is in Lebanon or assisting the Lebanese said. You are yet to know so many issues in governance, but the issue is very straightforward. Take any law, read every clause. Law is a very straightforward thing, unlike this foreign script that tells you there was a ghost or whatever, appearances at a particular mountain. You don't need any further interpretation apart from the grammar and the context of the situation. So politics is about understanding your right, your circumstance, and what you want to be. We must not allow us to regress into that past where a special branch dragged people from their homes. The villagers did us harm right early in the morning on a wet grass. We were stopped by the roadside. You being told to take a political party card as a national identity. I remember I was in Form 3 in Gilgil traveling home. I refused to take a political party card as a national identity. I can't allow that again to come back in this country. Colleagues, you are my younger children, my daughters. I encourage you to be firm, to be respectful, but don't lose sight of your future. Thank you, Afrocentric. From the mountain, come to the lake, my brother. Most welcome.
Afro, uko hapo? Usilale. Afro? Okay, Afro seems to... Now, I don't know where we were. Where do we start? I think I'll... Redemptor, let's go with you, and then all thing in that queue. I might go to the old speakers. What do you suggest? The new speakers. Let me start with John then. John? Somebody who has not talked.
Hello.
Sema.
Hello.
Talk.
Okay, I was saying about this Ruto regime. So I am here in Mombasa. Is that mazee biashara sasa iko chini mbaya. Everywhere sasa biashara iko chini. Yani Ruto ametusaka, yani what I can say. Yani biashara iko chini sana. Kama kuna maandamano mazee, asema ni sawa. Tutajitayarisha kama sisi vijana twene maandamano, because hatuwezi ona mambo na SHA, sijui chief, sijui whatsoever. Our parents there are really suffering because of that of SHA. Unaona, yani kitu haijapangwa, serikali hawaja notify watu, wanaleta tu hiyo SHA out of nowhere. Now people are suffering. Mambo na hii president kwenda for 7 years, of which I just see the president hayuko sawa kiakili. He's not good in mentally. That person is sick. He really needs help, that person. Aya na Gachagua, I don't see him being removed as an option. What we need is for them waende nyumbani wote because the only thing that for them that are fighting is because of just money or hizi vitu wanaiba, unaona. Yani everything about this Kenya Kwanza is a total fail. Education has failed, health sector has failed, the court, even the court has really failed us. Yani a lot of things in this Kenya right now are not on a good place. What we need, the only language that Ruto understands is maandamano. We need maandamano tutoke kwa street tena, because it is only that Ruto will understand, and it is only that the bills, easy bills of upuzi, sijui mambo na sijui mahindi, sijui mambo na nini, ati the farmers they need to give, I don't know, 60,000 sijui permit, I don't know whatsoever. Yani all those are just bullshit of bills. What I can say, maandamano, tupange maandamano tena. The only language Ruto understands ni maandamano. Kama ni maandamano tupange, itakuwa lini, itafanyika wapi? Mimi I am ready, because right here I'm just tired of this government, especially the youths out here. Tunanyanyasika, yani hatuna hata sauti. Angalia the situation like Bruce in Mombasa. Bruce, the situation of Bruce, huyo governor Mombasa, the case itaisha tu hivi tu, ukiona na macho itaisha tu hivi, because what I can say, because what sana unaweza angalia, Bruce is a Christian, no, unaona, and if the same person like Bruce angekuwa Mwislamu, that case ingeenda haraka